Welcome to the IT Security One-to-One Summit podcast series. Listen to industry insiders discuss the most critical issues in IT security. Featured on this episode, David Cass, the Global Chief Information Security Officer for Cloud and SaaS Operations, IBM, talks with John Massarini, Chief Security Officer of MIAX Options. You are listening to the IT Security One-to-One Summit podcast series.
Hello, my name is David Cass. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for Cloud and SaaS Operations for IBM. And it's my great pleasure to be here today with John Massarini, the CISO for MIAX Options. Welcome, John.
Thank you, David.
All right, so today we're going to talk about a couple of topical items in the world of information security. So I thought first things first is you talk about, what are your thoughts on the current threat landscape, especially for financials?
Well, it's certainly changing very rapidly, right? So, I like to say that things we worry about today really didn't exist 6 months ago. And that constant evolution is really kind of what's driving a lot of the security industry, technology in and of itself. Whether it's nation state, rogue actors, regardless, or even, in a lot of times malicious insiders, it really does drive us towards evaluating and looking at everyone who has access everywhere, right? So whether it's internal, external, how they're getting in, we see a tremendous amount of attacks on the outside, but a lot of it's just general noise that, whether it's a financial or manufacturing firm, we all see the same kind of noise. It really is discerning what is actually trying to come after us from that noise, which is where a lot of a lot of our team really does focus on and trying to identify.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think one of the challenges that we all deal with as CISOs is the technology environment is changing so rapidly. And we have everything, Internet of Things, everything, mobile devices, all these are more powerful, more capable than they've ever been. Right. So part of the challenge is, how do you keep up as a CISO with all the changes in technology and start looking forward to start thinking about, what do I need to start thinking about for the next generation of threats and the next generation of security?
Yeah, and that's actually the fun part of our job, right? There are a lot of great solution providers out there. I think one of the biggest challenges we face in the industry is the lack of ability for their interoperability. We have everybody has SIMs, everybody has firewalls or IPSs, and really integrating them to a point where they're being proactive rather than reactive, I think is one of the big challenges as an industry we face. You're layering in the threat analytics and threat intelligence into those devices. So we're more proactive is critical, but none of the devices or the solutions talk with each other necessarily natively, which really kind of provides or causes a really big challenge with our teams. Right? It's a lot of very manual work.
Yeah, that's another excellent point as well, and I think something that we all struggle with as a challenge is, how do you deal with legacy technology and moving into the new technology space?
Yeah, the legacy technology is really, if you think about the vast majority of the organizations out there are still running big mainframes and the big iron and have infrastructures that are quite literally decades old. And when we're dealing with we go from mobile devices accessing infrastructure that's 40, 50 years old, there are a lot of challenges there. I think when you look at environments like that, I think one of the first things you really have to consider is a really strong network segmentation model, right? Just you have to presume that there are parts of your infrastructure that are going to be owned and almost dirty, and allowing them access into the production or the critical device, the information assets, is really kind of the first approach that we have to take.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that, there's so many components to what we're doing in information security right now. I mean, we talked a little bit about the technology, so we can talk about, the people part of the view for a little bit right now. It's a great time and a challenging time to be an information security professional as well.
Indeed.
So, what are your thoughts right now on talent acquisition and retention?
It's I don't think anyone who calls themselves an information security professional isn't getting several calls a week, right? It's just whether they're LinkedIn messages or phone calls. The reality is talent retention is a critical concern. Finding out what makes our folks tick and making sure that they enjoy their jobs, I think is a critical factor when it comes to retention. The acquisition part is, man, it's unbelievable how many people are needed right now. And when you look at the schools and some of the kids that are coming out of there now, I think there's a great potential to solve that gap in the coming years. The challenge is while they're incredibly book smart, it doesn't necessarily translate right into walking into an environment and benefiting. So we have to, I think, collectively make a very discernible effort to get them educated, trained. We just brought a gentleman on, and he's shadowing my senior guy, right? And that's all he does all day, because we have a very complex environment, and you really can't just open up a network diagram and understand it, right? So getting him trained and really getting that mentorship program in place in the organization is critical.
Yeah, that's true. And I think as we go to acquire talent, it's looking at, where are you sourcing talent from? Because I think one of the challenges that, as a CISO as well, is I think we as an industry need to do a better job pointing out that there is actually a career path and a career track within information security.
Right.
You can come in and rise to a CISO, you can go in, there's so many different things that you can do, that there is a true career path there. I think the education from external providers are starting to pick up, but often when you go to university, I know when I went to undergrad, there was no career path of cybersecurity, and I think that we as an industry and CISOs need to do a better job of helping define what that potential career path is to get more people coming in.
Yeah, exactly. When we were in school, I don't know about you, but one of my mandatory classes was JCL, right? So there's not very much of that used anymore these days. So when you look at the curriculum that is in some of these leading edge universities right now, it really is very appealing, and I think it holds a tremendous benefit for the future. But it's still years away. Kids going into those programs right now, we're not going to get our hands on for 5 to 7 years, right? So it's going to be a challenge for certainly the short term.
All right, so I think one of the things as we're getting close to time, I think I'd love to hear a couple of your tips for what's the for the next generation of security leaders. What advice would you have for them?
So I think one of the most beneficial approaches that I've found over the years is take ownership, and I know it's going to sound a little strange, but take ownership, if you can, of the business continuity program. Because understanding the business continuity of your organization and where the revenue streams are generated as part of the business continuity and the business impact analysis really can help you drive and formulate a successful information security program. It really is about protecting the revenue. It's not just protecting the company. It's about protecting the revenue stream of the organization, and that really is driven right out of a BCP program.
All right. What other tips would you have?
Network. There's a tremendous wealth of information out there from your peers. And I know you and I have had a lot of conversations about what works, what doesn't work, and that understanding, that knowledge, really allows us to you trying something that didn't work. Maybe that gives me a reason not to try it, or vice versa. But that understanding and the networking is really critical to what we do. I think more so than in most other industries. A server is a server, and if it runs at a certain speed and does a certain thing, that's great. If a SIM or a firewall or some sort of technology doesn't work or does work, your success or failure, is very valuable information to me. So, I think that's a very key point that a lot of people don't understand.
All right, thanks, John. Thank you for all those valuable insights, and I always appreciate spending time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the IT Security One-to-One Summit podcast series. To listen to other podcasts or for more information on the IT Security One-to-One Summit, visit us at one2onesummits.com/ITSec. That's ONE2ONE summits.com/ITSEC.